The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hello. Welcome to another edition of the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast promotes positive self-images of original people and original people culture. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people peace, original people reciprocity, and original people positivity. And I am your host, Halzie Allen. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. Welcome all my narrators. So, hey, how's everybody doing today on this great weekend? A Saturday. So I usually have my episode done on weekends, done and uploaded. Probably like late afternoon. I start recording in the afternoon and have it uploaded probably like, 2 to 3 hours after I'm done recording on other platforms. But this is kind of late this evening. Now I've did uploads where I've finished the broadcast at midnight, but this is just trying to let you know that this is a late upload. That's all I'm trying to do. I got long-winded, just letting you all know that this is kind of a late upload. It was the weather was super duper nice today, and it would have been criminal not to enjoy it. So lovely. So yeah, that's what I was doing. Why I didn't just do start recording in the afternoon like I usually do. So, but anyway, I'm glad you all are here. So this week went by relatively quickly. A whole lot of stuff going on in the news. Spoiler alert, we'll be addressing the donkey in the room later on within the broadcast. So buckle up. It's going to be a good one. All my uploads are good ones, So, that's what I do here on this platform is to provide the listening audience with positive frames of reference about original people and original people culture. So before diving into the content, how I get things started off for the new listeners that are unfamiliar with me and the Narrative Podcast, I usually just give a brief overview of the type of subject matter that I speak about on this platform, how and the way I present it to you all, and some nuances about the podcast that I think you should know to be a fully informed listener of my content. So without any further ado, we're going to dive right on into the breakdown of the Narrative Podcast. Starting at the top, Tippy, the name. I named my podcast the Narrative Podcast because I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original people culture. So what I want to do is design a platform to counter the way the media intentionally misrepresents our people's images and likenesses to promote and push their agenda. So the mission statement of my podcast is basically to, uplift and edify my people by providing positive frames of reference about my people and my culture. Who are my people and my culture, original people. I'll get to the original part a little bit later in the segment. Also, to inspire and bring awareness to the importance of sharing positive frames of reference about using your platforms to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Yeah, so that's the mission statement, is basically to, inspire people to responsibly utilize their platforms to, share information and deliver positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And I think that's the perfect segue for my tagline for the Narrative Podcast. My tagline is the Narrative Podcast. Changing the narrative one episode at a time by providing positive frames of reference about original people and original people culture. So the first thing I think you should know about my podcast is I call my target listening audience my narrators, and the key thing as a narrator, or the reason why I call my target listening audience my narrators is because we're now living in the digital information age, and pretty much, we're all sharing information online. Every single platform has a section where you start something up, like if it's like Facebook or whatever, they got a section where, you got a bio about yourself. You upload your biopic. You got your information where you're uploading your biopic and, your bio, your hobbies, your interests, your likes, your dislikes, turn-ons, turn-offs. And, essentially you're telling or narrating your own personal story. You're putting out a certain image of yourself with your content. So, essentially that's what everybody's doing now on all these digital platforms, is they're telling or narrating their own stories. And typically, most people that got sense anyway, they want to tell the best story about themselves they can possibly tell. So when they're doing their pages, they're presenting themselves in the most positive light as possible. They're sharing their most triumphant moments in their life. They're sharing all positive stuff, because online you can be whatever you want to be. So that's kind of the goal, is to make yourself the hero of your own story rather than the villain, or rather than portraying yourself as down bad and needing help. Some people kind of cap, their lives aren't as great as they post, but they try to tell the best, share the best version of themselves with the rest of the world. And that's how the rest of the world usually will interact with you and engage you online, based on the types of stories and your status updates, which you're telling or narrating about whatever's going on in your life. And how that concept of narrating ties into my platform is as a people, we already know that the liberal media intentionally misrepresents our people. They intentionally vilify us, go out of their way to, make us appear downtrodden and down bad, disenfranchised, and all that. So, why not, reclaim your power by putting out the best possible examples of ourselves and of our communities. You know, why would we feed into these negative stereotypes and stigmas that the media places over us by regurgitating the negative stereotypes and stigmas online, by regurgitating gang culture, regurgitating, pimp culture, whore culture, thought culture, F-boy culture? Why would we sit up here and, embrace, just passively embrace all these negative stereotypes and stigmas that the media intentionally places over our people, original people, by, embracing them, by, reposting it online, you know what I mean? So, like, it should be the goal for us as a people to share content indicative of our true natures. And what is our true nature as a people? Who are we? We're kings and queens, gods and goddesses of the universe, and therefore our content that we post online, or the stories that we tell or narrate about ourselves, should be reflective of that fact. Because, we can't control how people outside of our culture perceive us as, how they relate to us, how they interact and react to us. But what we can control is the type of content that we're putting out as a people. And so that's why I call my target listening audience my narrators. And as your mission as a narrator is to basically mirror what I'm doing. And what am I doing? I'm putting out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, telling and narrating the story of us in a positive way. Next order of business, I want to tack on a sub-points about the media, why they intentionally do us like that, before moving on to my next point that I think you should know about my platform before diving into the content. The media intentionally does this to our people. Well, they primarily do it for, the most common reason is for money, for monetary gain, profit. They primarily do it for profit and gain. And, from the business perspective, when has negativity and degeneracy not been a lucrative business? Sex, as the old saying, sex sells. That's why we have so many smut tabloids, so many gossip columns, why daytime television drama is so popular. Also, the media intentionally misrepresents our people because they are controlled by the powers that be. And who are the powers that be? The powers that be are the elite class, the higher echelon, high society, aka wealthy white people. And what the elite class, what their goal is to, their overall underlying agenda is to remain in power. They want to control all the resources. They want to remain in power. They want to run and govern everything in the world, all forms of government. They want to be in charge of that. They want to be the most important people in the world. They want to be the most exclusive group in the world. They don't want anybody that isn't in their tax bracket, that isn't wealthy and white, sharing the same space as them, because they believe they're better than everybody else. And how they achieve their goal is to basically control the minds of the masses, and they use the media to do so. And they've been doing it all since they've been in existence in the world. It didn't start with just the digital media. They've been doing this before the invention of television, before the invention of radio, definitely before the internet and social media. They even been doing it before books. They've been doing it in early times, way back in the scroll days, using propaganda to manipulate and warp the minds of the masses, making everybody believe what they want them to believe. And what they want them to believe is that they are superior and better than everybody. They want to be the face of sophistication, the face of culture, the face of refinement, the face of class, dignity, and decorum. And to achieve that, they make everybody else, when in comparison to how they live, seem degenerate next to them. They do this to all classes of people. They do this to low income white people. They do this to people, Germans. They do it to Italians, Latins, Asians, everybody. They want everybody to appear degenerate and not happy and prosperous in life, not winning in life. They want to promote the, capitalism, bureaucracy. They want to promote the image of life in excess. They want to promote, mass spending, consumerism. They want to promote all these. They want to equate status symbols to excellence and success in life. They want to have the narrative where you need to be associated with the status symbol to make you an important person. Like you can't, your life can have no meaning and value if you don't own like a Lamborghini or, some expensive foreign car, or live in a mansion or a loft or a penthouse, and have like just tons of land and other tangible assets and like art, like expensive pieces of art and jewelry and all these things that you cannot take with you after you leave this physical plane. That's what they represent. They represent worshiping objects and worshiping false idols, and they want the whole rest of the world to do it too. And like I said, they vilify everybody. But why they fixate on our people the most is because our people are the most impactful people on the planet. Everybody follows our lead to some capacity. Everybody copies off of us. Everybody wants to be like us. Everybody emulates us in some form or another, whether it's through fashion, whether it's through music, whether it's through, art, food, culture, whatever. Everybody aspires to kind of be like us in some capacity. Like when one of us is in the room, one of us is in the room in a good way. Like we command the room, we exude confidence. Our people is just like the poster of where it's at, like where what's happening. Everybody wants to be like us. Everybody wants to dress like us, talk like us, act like us. And, this disturbs them because they can't be important at all without status symbols. And we, as a people, we're Out of all the people on this planet, we're the most in tune and connected with nature. So therefore, we don't need status symbols to be important. We don't need the big mansion, the big yachts, jewelry and all that to be, popular, to be, in demand, to be trending. We don't need any of that, but just our natural selves, original people, So as impactful as we are, to them, we're a direct threat to their very existence because, when we're dialed into our natural higher selves, we got the sense to be like, yo, I'm not going to buy this expensive car just because I have money to buy this expensive car. I'm not going to buy this expensive house just because I have the money to purchase this expensive house. We make it make sense, and that alarms me because then everybody else will, follow our lead, our precedent, and then their world will come crashing down around them because they need, those status symbols. They need that power. They need that wealth to solidify who they are because they don't have their own culture. That's why they're always stealing everybody else's culture and identity. Not only that, the elite class are natural historians. They're aware of, how they came to be. They're aware of their existence and they're aware of our existence. And they know if there never was a us, there never would be a them. So, they're aware that we are directly the root cause of them, how they acquire their financial wealth and how they establish their systemic power. And their biggest fear is that, we would remember that, reconnect with our higher selves, start unifying, start building, and slowly but surely start reclaiming everything that they've took and everything that they're currently taking from us and do to them what they've done and are currently doing to us. So, our people represents their downfall. Their downfall is imminent. They already know their time is up. That's why they spend so much of their time and hard-earned money, I say hard-earned money like they was born into it, into trying to assassinate our characters and trying to, create these negative stereotypes and stigmas about our people, to not warp the minds of the masses and warp how people perceive us as and how they interact and react to our people. That's why they created all these rules and laws and systems in place to extinguish our people, to subjugate our people, and to keep our people divided from one another and resources away from us. So that's just a little sub point that I want to tack on about why the media goes out of their way to intentionally misrepresents our people. So now another thing that you need to know about the Narrative Podcast before I dive into the content this evening is that this is a 110% safe place for our people. It's all about positivity. It's all love. It's all about upliftment, edification through, positive frames of reference. I'm all about promoting positive self-images of our people, the way we perceive ourselves, to be prideful about who we are. So I don't do any negative slander, gossip, anything that will, anything that will cause division within our community, anything that will halt or retrogress any progression our people have made anything that could potentially set us back as a people, I don't promote or endorse that. So like, yeah, this space that I'm creating is just, all about being positive, spreading love, and inspiring people to, basically do what I do, which is to promote positive reinforcement of, the images and likenesses of our people, original people. So, that's, with the nature of the Narrative podcast, that's why I'm here and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, yeah, it's all positivity over here. That's all I'm promoting on this platform. Now, what I do, however, is tell it truth, is speak truth to power, and I'm very honest. And what I will do, if I feel, one of our people is intentionally using their platform to promote negative stereotypes and stigmas about our people for the sole purpose of monetary gain, I will call said individual out on this platform. I will call their behavior out. But other than that, I don't really name drop. I don't talk about celebrities. I don't talk about celebrities in a negative way or try to use them as a speaking point to, garner the clicks and all that for the algorithm. Basically, any time I'm delivering commentary, I'll deliver, whatever's happening around the world, whether it's globally, nationally, or just things that happen specifically in our community, the original people community. That's the only time I really deliver commentary. And then when I'm bringing up a famous person's name, it's never the clout chase or anything like that. It's basically to solidify a point that I'm trying to make, about the condition of our people. I'm using them as a vehicle to do that, to grab your attention and to get you hyper-focused into the bigger picture behind whatever, negative thing that their image and likeness is tied to bring it back into focus. Because like the perspective that I paint on my platform about our people when we're engaged in negativism or something not positive, some type of trouble, is, I'm painting it from the perspective of the systemic aspect, of being programmed and conditioned to act in that negative way, that whatever they're in the news for. Because, who did they learn this negative behavior from? Because that's not in our nature to behave in the way of whatever, why they're trending in the news, why they're in trouble. Because degeneracy, believe it or not, is a learned behavior. In us being the original people, it wasn't in our nature to engage in such things. We learned that from having other people around us, and we absorb their, bad habits, and then also, systemically, we've been programmed and conditioned to react and respond in the manner that we do when we're doing something negative to each other, or when we're committing crimes or engaged in some type of degeneracy or lewdness. It's all about, systemic programming and conditioning. So that's the perspective that I unpack all my commentary around, because, just bringing it back into focus through the bigger picture. Because I, for one, I'm for taking accountability for yourself as an adult, as an individual. When you mess up, say, hey, I messed up, be accountable for you and not blame outside forces for your life. But then also, being an original man, we can't not address the elephant in the room and acknowledge, their systemic circumstances surrounding, why such a large number of us aren't functioning at a normal level of life, So, we can't never not just act like that doesn't exist, and then that doesn't play a factor. That it doesn't play a factor into our overall, way we live, the crime that does happen in our neighborhoods, the wealth gap, the education, when education is in a decline in our neighborhood. They got us programmed and conditioned to believe like every time something negative happens in our community, like the first thing out of our mouths always is like, we need to take accountability. We got to do better. We got to step our game up. And, it is true to a certain capacity that we do need to, fix our own in-house issues and not, expect other people to come save us. But then also to not acknowledge why it happened in the first place is completely folly. Like, our go-to shouldn't always be, we have to do better, we have to make the change, and not hold the people accountable that created these conditions in the first place. We skip that part, but we want to hold each other accountable all the time, and but we don't want to hold the powers to be accountable. And so, like us, like I'm not cool with that, with, our people, who was the only people on the planet that literally had everything done to them and everything taken from them. We're the ones that always got to do better. Nah, I'm not cool with that. So that's why I present the, deliver commentary the way I deliver it. And it's never from a negative space about, a public figure within our community that might be engaged in some negative activity. That's the only reason why I would ever bring like a famous person's name up, is to, illustrate an underlying point that I'm trying to make. And that's usually the underlying point that I'm trying to make all the time. So yeah. But never to just hop on it because it's a trending topic, And definitely I don't try to subscribe to gossip and slander and he say, she say. Like, I feel that is destroying our community, and I don't subscribe to that. I don't promote that. And I really try not to, insert opinions on that. Okay. Getting to wrapping this synopsis up before diving into the content. Just a couple more things. Next thing, this is a time-sensitive platform. My projected broadcast time, I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast, and reason being is because I want to keep the listening audience captivated. I want you fully enthralled in receiving my message and interacting with my content. And to be able to do that, I need to be able to keep your attention, entertain you, and also inform you in a efficient manner. And I can't do that if I don't have any speaking points and I'm just boring you to sleep. So I try to, keep it short, brief, and to the point. And, I try not to exceed 1 hour. So I try to make this time sensitive. If I go over an hour, it's usually not by much. It's probably like 10 to 15 minutes max, maybe 20. I never try to do a 2 hour upload. When I first started doing it, I did. Like on my first couple hour uploads, it was like a little bit over an hour. I would say episode 1 through 12. Like those were some long ones. But after I like got the hang of it, the podcasting, I started experimenting with different formats and keeping it short and sweet and to the point. That's the one that that stuck and that helped me be here right now. How I'm able to do consistent uploads is because how I even acquire the audience that I do have is because I keep it short, brief, and to the point, and you don't have to clear your entire schedule to listen to or to catch up on episodes of the Narrator podcast. So yeah, I got a time limit I set for myself. And last but not least, on this platform, the Narrator podcast, I refer to our people. I know you've been hearing me say it all throughout, the synopsis breakdown of the Narrator podcast is, you've been hearing me say original people. I refer to our people, black people, African Americans, Negro, whatever you want to call us, however it go, Negroid, as original people. I do that for two very important reasons. One is to acknowledge the historical significance of the word original, because we were and are the original people of this planet. We was here thousands of years before every other race, religion, creed, ethnicity, nationality in the world. We was the first to exist. We was the first to develop. We was the first to build. We pretty much civilized civilization. We was the first. We pretty much originated everything. Everything can be traced back to our existence. Every invention, every piece of architecture, especially the ones where science can't explain how that structure, is able to exist, where there's no like scientific or geometrical or mathematical way to explain like how that particular object got there, is because we built it, the original people, and we had divine knowledge of doing that, of doing everything. And a quick sub point that I want to tack on to the historical relevance of why I refer to our people as original people is, to quickly, without trying to get too long-winded, dispel, a false narrative about our people. The mainstream historians, they always want to seem to try to symbiotically attach slavery to our people, trying to make slavery be an integral part of who we are as a people. We owe everything to, slavery, as if, we didn't have an origin before slave times. We existed long before slavery, but yet they try to, in history, try to make slavery the most important part of our history. So, a quick little way I want to dispel slavery right quick about, the cultural reference and significance of original people. Like I said, first and foremost, being original people, we existed long before everybody. And as original people, we existed on every single landmass in the world, every single corner of the globe. There was a high concentration of melanated African or people with African DNA. And we didn't get to all these places via slave boats. We was already, indigenously located there, especially here in the Americas. Like, this land is inherently ours. Like the natives, I'm sorry, I got to tell the truth. The ones that got the, get the government grants and got all them hotels, they are not the original natives of this land. They came from somewhere else. They're actually Eurasians. You know, so like all these, especially these tribes with these like totem animal names, and you know, they're not the original natives. We are here in America. So while slavery did happen, and it was very brutal and horrendous and very traumatizing for our people, everybody that existed in different corners of the globe didn't get to wherever we're located at via slave boats. Like some of us were transplants from Africa, but not all of us. It doesn't even make sense that how in history that it's recorded just like that went on thousands of years. They just kept going back to the continent of Africa for thousands of years getting slaves. So our participation in the slave trade, you know, the cultural significance of the slave trade as it pertains to our people is greatly exaggerated, especially here in the Americas. Like we, you know, as historically accurate terminology of original people, like we was already here first. We mothered and fathered civilization. We built everything you can think of. We invented everything you can think of, but for some odd reason, history doesn't want to give us the credit for that. They also don't want to be, you know, they want to, you know, promote and recycle trauma in our life. And slavery was a very traumatic period from us, but, you know, as it's recorded in history, they try to document it that, it, you know, it went on longer than it actually did. Our involvement in it, the slave trade, is exaggerated. And, you know, we just all didn't come from slave boats. We didn't. Especially here in the Americas, especially any Spanish-speaking nation. Also, any, like the whole continent of Asia, we was already large concentrations of us. Was already in like every part of Asia you can think of. Every part of Europe you can think of, even the North Pole, South Pole, Australia, Canada, every continent in the free world, we already had large concentrations of us, melanated people. And we didn't get there on a slave boat. All through the Middle East and the Mediterranean as well. But yeah, that's the historical significance of why I refer to our people as original people. The next reason why I refer to our people as original people here on the Narrative Podcast is to denote, you know, to try an effort to unify us as a people. Because being original people, we are so diverse and versatile. You know, there's so many different types of us, hailing from so many different land masses, speaking so many different languages, believing in so many different religions, spiritualities, and subscribing to so many different cultural and ethnic belief systems that, you know, we're the most divided people out of everybody on the planet. Whereas everybody else, when they view our people, they just call us black, no matter, you know, what language we speak, no matter how we identify ourselves as. You know, people outside of our culture, they just call us black. We're the only people causing the division by, you know, trying to claim our nationality and, you know, spirituality, whatever. You know, they be like all this divisiveness within our community. You know, I'm Haitian, I'm Jamaican. You know, I'm Nigerian. Oh, I'm Congolese. Like, you know what I mean? I'm French. I'm German. I'm from Canada. I'm from here. I'm from there. I speak this. I speak that. I believe in this. I'm Christian. I'm Jew. I'm Muslim. I'm a this. I'm a that. All this divisiveness within our community. But everybody outside of our community, they just call us black and be done with it. So that's me adapting everybody else's outside of our culture, adapting their way to identify us, to keep it simple, because as original people being here first, all those unique differences that we have within our people, the one common thing that we all have in common as a people is that we can all trace our lineage back to the original point of origin for all civilization, and that we are bonded and connected through our unique physiological makeup, which is our melanin, the most valuable substance on the planet, carbon, aka melanin. We all have that and can trace our origin back to the original point of origin for all civilization. Now the debate is, where was the original point of origin for all civilization? What was Africa before the colonizers called it Africa? What was Egypt before the colonizers called it Egypt? Not only what was it, where was it originally before the colonizers put it on the map? So that's another debate for another different time that I don't do here on this platform. But what I do try to do is just bring us all together as a unit, try to get us all on one accord, try to unify us and build us up and edify us. And that's why I refer to our people as original people. So there you have it. That's the complete breakdown of the Narrator podcast, my content and everything that I'm doing in my format. Anything I may have glazed over that you're unsure of, I'm more than 300 episodes in. Remember to download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrator podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. And without any further ado, I'm going to dive right on in to the content of the Narrator podcast. So here we go, starting at the top, the tippy. The first section on my weekend edition. So I guess I did kind of glaze over that. So on the Narrator podcast, I break my, in an effort to stay true to my time restraint that I set for myself, my time limit that I set for myself. I break down my content into sections, and each section has speaking points. And then I also try to time each section. Now the difference, I broadcast a couple times a week, my weekday episodes, they really just have two sections, which is articles and commentary. And my weekend episodes of the Narrator podcast are full episodes. And my weekend episodes have more sections, and I'll describe each section as I come to them. So starting off things right now on the weekend edition of the Narrator podcast, I'm starting with my first section. So first section of the Narrator podcast. This section is called the highlight section. And in this section, what I'm doing is I'm highlighting businesses owned and operated by original people. And the purpose of me highlighting businesses owned and operated by our people, original people, is I'm staying true to my mission statement for the Narrative podcast, which is to provide positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And the reason why I'm highlighting businesses that original men and women own is to, provide the listening audience with a positive frame of reference about doing for self, entrepreneurialism, because we don't have many positive frames of reference in that regard. Unfortunately, the very few frames of reference that we have about entrepreneurs come in the form of scripted reality television show. And the goal of the producers, the people that create scripted reality television shows about our people, about our entrepreneurs within our community, their primary job is to sell the show. And what sells television? Chaos sells television. Chaos gets you the ratings. So everything that goes on scripted reality television shows, is chaotic, especially in concern to our people, original people. So, they'll go out of their way to catch them in rare form, have them fighting on camera, have them fornicating on camera, engaging in substances, legal and illegal, on camera, and engaging in lewd, degenerate acts. So meanwhile, to deflect, that these people on this show is highly successful, highly intelligent. They have many businesses under their umbrella, have many brands under their umbrella. They feed a lot of families. Their brand feeds a lot of families, puts, food on the table for a whole lot of people. They do for their community. They started from the bottom. They started from nothing, and they turned into a success. Showed us that it is possible to not be a victim of your environment and to be, air quotes, successful. But like I said, scripted reality television shows with the producers of, that garbage, their mission statement is just basically to sell the chaos and, promote drama. So here on the Narrative Podcast, we sidestep all that. Because number one, this is an all audio platform, so, I won't have any of, the chaos factor isn't a factor on my platform. And then two, I can just offer you, the insight, the highlights, staying true to the title, highlighting an entrepreneur's journey, how they started their business, how they started their brand, all the developmental stages of, why they are, all the developmental stages of why they, started their business, and that they're successful at it, and they employ people within their community, impact their community in a positive way with their business or brand or whatever they started, and that, conveying to the listening audience that it is possible to do for self. We don't have to be complicit with working a 9-to-5 job, and we definitely don't have to be reliant on the government and be reliant on government type aid, because that's the way the powers that be try to spin the media. They want to program and condition us into just believing we can't ever get off that hamster wheel. So that's why I'm doing the highlight section, just showing you that it is possible to do for self, start your own business, take care of your family and the family of many others. So some qualifying factors that I use to select the businesses that I highlight in the highlight section of the Narrative Podcast. Number one, they have to be, of course, originally owned and operated, founded by an original man. They have to be the owner or at least the co-owner of the business. It has to have some cultural significance to our community. It has to have some type of cultural significance to our community, meaning their business that they own, they do some type of community outreach with it. They either have their own nonprofit organization, or they pay into a nonprofit organization, or do something impactful for the community, such as helping out our youth, helping out elderly anybody in the community whom is disenfranchised and needing assistance. They have programs in place to accommodate whatever the community needs. And then the last qualifying factor of, my highlight section selection process that is that, the businesses that I highlight in the highlight section, coincide with my overall theme. And my overall theme is, what I'm doing now. I was doing the seasons, and I've switched as of late. I'm doing national recognized holidays. So they got to have all those other factors, and then they also have to coincide with the nationally recognized holiday. So now that you know about the highlight section of the Narrative Podcast, I'm gonna dive right on in and to highlight the first original owned and operated business featured on the highlight section of the Narrative Podcast highlight section. So like I said, my theme is, nationally recognized holidays. Today is Saturday the 18th, and today is International Museum Day. So while I cannot, so all my businesses that I will be highlighting today in the highlight section of the Narrative Podcast coincide and centered around, International Museum Day. Now, a quick disclaimer before I dive into the highlight section. The goal of it, what I'm attempting to do is walk you through an entrepreneur's journey. I'm trying to tell you all the high points of their journey, how they started their own business, how they developed their own product, but all the time it's just simply not readily available. So sometimes what I try to, provide the listeners with is, the names of the people that created the product, a brief bio about them, where they grew up, how they got interested in the business, whatever the business that I'm highlighting. When did they decide, when did the light go off and say, hey, I want to do this? Then also tell you about any type of adversity they had to face, any pushback that they got along their journey, and, how do they develop their award-winning formula for success for running and operating their own business. I'm trying to walk you through an entrepreneur's whole journey. I'm trying to highlight their whole, journey on being an entrepreneur. But having said that, some of that information I'm just not privy to. I can't find it, no matter how many, word variants I use or try to Google that information. Some stuff is just ungoogleable. It's not available because a whole lot of entrepreneurs, they don't want to put out all their business on the internet, where they went to school, where they grew up at, and hobbies and interests and all that, which is understandable because it'd be weirdos on the internet, stalkers and such. Stalkers and scammers and just like real low-level degenerate people that do bad things with your information. So it's understandable why sometimes I can't find the information on, entrepreneurs. But anyway, this is one of them days. So like the theme is national museums, and it's going to be super light, but trust me, it's for our people. It's for all these museums, benefit our people to some capacity. They check all the other boxes that I named for the factors, but they're missing the founders' bios and exact time frame, like exact time frames of, the year it got established, how they came up with the idea. But other than that, they check all the other boxes. So I just want to make you aware of that. But getting into the highlight section, the first business featured on the highlight section of the Narrative Podcast for International Museum Day is the California African American Museum. It was established in 1977, and to find out a little bit more about it, you can go to cammuseum.org. It's open on Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The physical address is 600 State Drive, Exposition Park, Los Angeles, California, 90037. Admission is free, and no reservations are required. So if you're in the California area, do yourself a tremendous favor and go visit the California African American Museum. And if you don't live in California, don't sweat. You just go online. They have virtual online tours of the museum. So go to cammuseum.org, and then you can participate in the virtual online tour of the museum. So let's give it up for the CAM Museum in California, the California African American Museum in Los Angeles, California. All right, moving right along. Super duper light today, but it's usually more thorough, more detailed. But like I said, I can't just all the time find that crucial information. So the second business that will be featured in the highlight section of the Narrative Podcast is the William Grant Still Art Center, and that's low. And you can go online to wgac.wordpress.com, and it was established in 1977 by two people. A gentleman by the name of David Cunningham and a brother by the name of Hakeem Ali. It was named after the famous classical music composer Grant Still William Grant Still. He was born in Woodsville, Mississippi. So he was a classical musical composer. He composed like a whole bunch of symphonies, classical music prodigy. He had been playing classical music since age like 5, and he wrote over a dozen symposiums. Not only just directed the music, like he taught people how to play the instruments as well. So he didn't just write the music, he also taught musical lessons. Every instrument you can think of, like he knows how to play it, and taught other people how to play it as well. And that's why he's so important, and they want to preserve his legacy. And so what they do there is they basically teach all forms of music every genre of music, because, like, quite frankly, our people, original people, we invented every genre of music you can think of anyway. But they really highly focus on hip hop. They highly focus on, jazz and the blues as well there. So they got all kinds of, workshops, musical workshops. You can learn how to, like, DJ, mix and scratch, learn how to do some production work, how to mix down a track, how to edit a track on the hip hop side of it, and then as well as, like, jazz and blues. They teach musical lessons, how to read musical sheets, like how to read music. And they got all kinds of, demonstrations. Like, they probably got, like, live DJs to, teach you the different various DJing techniques. They also do, host, like, the poetry slams, the spoken word poems and all that. So it's a real artsy type place. It's heavy on, the performing arts side of it. So go check that out the next time you're in California. I guess I didn't give you the physical address yet. It's located on 2520 Southwest View, LA, California, 90016. It's 3 blocks east of La Brea and a half block north of Adams. It's open Tuesday through Saturday, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. So go check that out and give a warm narrative podcast for the William Grant Still Art Center, and to the founders, David Cunningham and Hakeem Ali. All right, moving right along. Next order of business here on the Narrator Podcast, or the next business I will be highlighting here on the Narrator Podcast is the Mamie A. Clayton Library. And the Mamie A. Clayton Library was obviously named after Mamie A. Clayton. And who was she? She was the very first. She was a librarian and president of the very first. Excuse me, I can't read my handwriting sometimes. President of the Western States Black Research and Education Center. So that was basically, natural art museum dedicated to preserving our culture, significant artifacts. She had in her museum that she was the curator for that museum. She had Phyllis Wheatley's first she had a autographed poem by Phyllis Wheatley, one of the first poems she ever wrote. She had found a autographed copy of that, and that was featured in that art museum, and just like a whole lot of things that commemorate our lives and times. And she was dedicated to preserving precious milestones within our culture. And the California State College honored her with that by keeping her legacy alive and dedicating their own campus to her dedicating the museum to honor her legacy on their campus. And so the campus is located on 401 Long Beach, California, 90802. And the telephone number is 562-951-4001. And again, to find out find out about the museum, you would have to go to csudh.edu or call up there and ask. When I went to the website, it's the times of the museum is not listed on there, so most likely you would have to call. And I don't think they have like virtual tours, so you would just really have to live in California to partake in that experience. You have to either live there or visit there. So yep, it's a get off your ass and go check it out type deal, but it's probably worth that to experience those precious moments in time and to celebrate all our achievements and accomplishments. So that's it, and that's all for the highlight section of the Narrative Podcast. And on to the next section of the Narrative Podcast. This section is called the Spotlight section. And when I'm doing this section, I'm spotlighting prominent figures within our community to uplift that are impactful to our community. They're doing something positive, either through their work or their charitable deeds. In the past, when I first started the Spotlight section, I dedicated it to spotlighting just like celebrities such as, actors, actresses, comedians, what have you, recording artists, athletes, public figures, YouTubers, TikTokers, that type of thing. But as of late, I really kind of changed my trajectory on that. And the reason why I'm doing that is to, kind of break that negative stereotype that all we know how to do is entertain. So I'm trying to stay away from spotlighting entertainers. But, not for nothing, your brother, Halsey Allen, I kind of like created the wave for spotlighting. Because before I added a spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrative Podcast, nobody was spotlighting anybody. Now, everybody that, has either a podcast or a YouTube channel or does any type of interviewing, whether when they're interviewing guests or featuring, something, a segment where they're talking to somebody, they'll start off by today we'll be spotlighting, or today we got so-and-so dropping through on the spotlights on whoever such and such. But nobody was spotlighting anybody until I added the spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrative Podcast. So as they say, imitation is the best form of flattery. So many people are doing it now. This lets me know I'm impactful. It's not all about the CPMs and clicks. Like we're always being watched. People always observe you from afar anytime you're sharing content online. So as any content creator, they tell you don't never just, measure your stats. If you measure your stats, you're going to make yourself suffer. But people, even if they don't come out and say they mess with you, they're messing with your content. They're always seeing what you're uploading. And I know for a fact people are messing with my content on the Narrative Podcast because so many celebrities and famous people, just kind of basically, for lack of better words, copy what I'm doing. They're checking out my style, all my nuances, what I say and how I say certain stuff. They'll, go back and replicate it on their platform to something, just as a quiet nod, letting me know that they're listening to the podcast, even though they're not just blatantly saying, shouting out Halsey Allen and the Narrator podcast. They're obviously, heavily influenced and checking what I'm doing. So, and it's all good, because the purpose of me creating the spotlight section is basically create the healthy habit of delivering positive reinforcement. We don't congratulate each other enough. We don't celebrate each other's accomplishments enough. So anyway, what I'm basically saying is I'm trying to get people to hand out roses instead of hand out insults, because unfortunately within our community it's been incentivized to for all our platforms to be heavy drama laden. It's lucrative business for us to take shots at each other online, to air out dirty laundry, and to basically drag each other all up and down social media. And I used to say we was the only people that did that, but I got to correct myself. We're not the only people to do that. To say we're the only people that get messy online is a fallacy. That's like saying there's such a thing as black on black crime, and it's not. Crime is crime. The only difference between what happens in our community and other people's community is the camera always fixates and focuses on our community, and they fixate and focus on all the negative things in our community. They never play up the positive things. They want to just see us in ultra rare form. They want to see us talking bad about each other, plotting on each other's demise, and being messy online. And they put a whole lot of money and energy into keeping that type of energy prevalent within our community. But everybody that has an online account gets messy online, especially, in our community. But like I said, the only difference between our community and everybody else's community that gets messy is that our community is just more marketable. We're more interesting. Nobody cares about, people in the Asian community getting messy. It's boring. Their conflict is boring. Nobody cares about two people in the Asian community getting messy online with each other. Nobody cares about them trading insults online. People only care about us trading insults online. When we trade insults, exchange insults online with each other, get messy with each other online, air out each other's dirty laundry, then that's news. That's business. That's exciting. We want to see how that plays out. When we start arguing and clapping back with each other online, it's like, ooh, this is about to get good. They want to grab the popcorn and, stay tuned to see what happens next. Because that's just the way the media promotes and facilitates negative things within our community to transpire online. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing with the spotlight section, is trying to make an effort to, divert the attention away from the negativity online, saying, hey, we can do positive things. You can make money online being positive. You can make money online, bigging your brother or bigging your sister up online, and, giving them the roses while they're here, and, expressing your fond admiration for whatever they're doing positive in life. You know, we should be just doing that instead of just trading insults online. That's so corny. That's so whack. I'm not saying like, you know, we all have to get along and kumbaya and just like that's not what I'm saying. That's an unrealistic expectation. You know, rest his soul, the late Rodney King, you know, what he was famous for was saying, can't we all get along? And unfortunately, brother Rodney King, no, we can't. You know, that's just not human nature. We can't all get along. But what we can do is agree to disagree in a civil manner. And, you know, if we don't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. That's what we can start doing. But, yeah, on to this week's Spotlight edition of the Spotlight section on the Narrative Podcast.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
In the real way. So this week's Spotlight goes to a brother by the name of Mikhail C. Clark. Mikhail C. Clark is a father, author, strategy motivator, a podcaster, a social media influencer, and like a bunch of other stuff. He wears so many hats. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's written over 20 book titles. Motivational speaker. He does TED Talks. You know, like I would be like 30 minutes right there on my time limit just talking about all his accomplishments. But he's most noted for his positive affirmations, like all of his you know, those like little quote like if you know, like if you're a phone person, you know, those little quotes like that you can write on. I use them a whole lot. I use them for myself too. Like, cause I write poetry. So like I got 2 Instagram accounts, 1 Instagram account. You know, I just upload poetry and I use a lot of those, like, you know, quotes that you can write on, and they got the like different backgrounds. You know what I mean? Like they got the plain colors and then they got like different like visual like pictures and stuff. Well, he's famous for that. Like writing positive affirmations on quotes. So that's what he's internet famous for. You know, his affirmations, like so many people got so many testimonials that his affirmations, you know, help transform their world and, you know, broaden their horizons and, you know, how they view themselves and how they view the world around them. So like he's, you know, instrumental in basically raising vibrations and raising consciousness and you know, teaching people to basically love themselves. He's also the co-founder of a nonprofit organization called The Creative Summer. Now their website is down right now, so I don't know if that nonprofit organization still exists. But they said it's just down for routine maintenance when I visited it. I don't know. But his story has also been featured on Forbes, Ebony. He's got an active YouTube account. You can just type his you know, name into the YouTube browser, and you know his podcast episodes will pop up. You can subscribe to his YouTube channel to listen to his podcast series. And, you know, the brother's doing positive, impactful work in our community, spreading positivity, basically the same thing I'm doing. He has a very wide reach, large following, so he's putting it out in the atmosphere. that you can be positive online and make money. He's amassed millions of dollars being positive online. You don't have to get messy. You know, like it seems like the powers that be want to, when everybody's trying to get their legs online, the first thing they want to do is like make a gossip channel to, get the hits and likes. Well, this brother's right here. He got like online tutorial classes where he's teaching you how to be a successful social media influencer and be positive online instead of being messy online to, get your following up and make you some paper without subscribing to the messiness. And so that's why he's getting the spotlight section today here on the Narrative Podcast. So join me into giving Brother Mikhail C. Clark a warm Narrative Podcast round of applause. Okay. So moving right along, I started really late tonight. This episode got a little long-winded. For all intensive purposes, this is a Saturday edition. To be quite frank, when I say weekday edition, I never specify what day. But, if you've been listening to my platform, like I really try to do Saturdays, but I have done Sundays before. But for all intensive purposes, this is a Saturday episode of the Narrative Podcast. But so now on to the next section of the Narrative Podcast, which is the health and wellness section. And in this section, what I'm doing is I'm telling the target listening, I'm speaking to the listening audience about, overall health and wellness. It's very straightforward to the point. In this section, what I'm talking about is health and wellness. I'm giving the listening audience health and wellness tips so they can have a overall prosperous life, because health is wealth. So, I'm just giving little tidbits on how to maintain an active, healthy, fit lifestyle. So a quick disclaimer about my health and wellness tips. My health and wellness tips are, aimed at my target core audience, which is my people, original people. So, the target listening audience is for my people, original people. My content is for anybody to listen to, anybody that wants to learn, wants to, be informed, has an open mind, and wants to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. Who, for the people outside of our culture, who really, say they love our people and they want to be at peace with us, not at war with us, you're more than welcome to listen to my podcast. But just know all the content on here is dedicated towards my people, dedicated towards the upliftment, advancement, edification of my people. And out of all the sections, this section especially. And the reason why this section especially, because we need it the most. We need the health and wellness tips the most, because there is an inherent agenda to unalive each and every last one of us. Our people, original people, were under attack physically, mentally, and spiritually. They're putting things in our food, in our water, in, common items that we use every day. Our, personal hygiene items like things we clean with. The very air we breathe is saturated with things to, break down our genetic unique genetic makeup. Melanin is the most precious element on the planet, and they want it by any means necessary. So that's why they're trying to get rid of it so they can harvest it. So it's not a conspiracy theory, it's reality. When you look at, the stats, our life expectancy, everything they're doing to us systemically, yeah, that sounds about right. So the purpose of the health and wellness section, the tips I give in the health and wellness section is to, help fortify us in all the areas that we're being attacked, and we're being attacked mentally, physically, and spiritually. So the purpose of the health and wellness tips, here on the Narrator podcast is basically to bring awareness to our people, my people, the target listening audience, original people, that we are being attacked, and to, just armor up in all the areas that we're being attacked. So the types of things, and then, one more quick misnomer that I want to clear out the way before diving into the, types of tips I give. We're not all the same. Religion has done us a gross misservice to, everybody on the planet. We all supposed to be walking together to get to, build a relationship with the Creator, whoever you believe the Creator is, whether you believe the Creator is, God, Allah, Buddha, Yahweh, Yeshua, whatever, Jesus, whoever. Some people believe, the higher powers of women. Some people believe in the ancestors. Some people believe whatever you believe in, religion has taught us that we're all one. We're all, the same. And that's just not true. We're not all the same. And as a matter of fact, it's because of the Creator that made us all different. And we all connect to whatever we believe the source is in a different manner. And we do this in the different ways culturally. And to prove it, like, if you're white, visit a black church. If you're black, go visit a white church and see how different we are as a people. If you're Muslim, if you in the Middle East, visit an American Muslim mosque and see how different we are as a people. And whatever, there's a difference in all, forms of religion, spirituality. It's all different. So don't subscribe to, we're all the same. We're all God's children. Don't subscribe to that ideology. We're all different. We all have different needs. We're all culturally different. We all have a different cultural identity. We all have different cultural problems. The difference in diets. We all definitely got that in common, whereas one group of people can eat a certain type of food every single day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they can live a long life, because that's what their, ethnic group of people that sustains them for their unique genetic makeup. It, adapts, it applies to their unique genes. Whereas, like, say, I would eat that type of food, it would harm me. And then, mentally, we all have different mental triggers, like, what is, like, some activities that my people can engage in to make us feel at peace, that brings us comfort, that brings us joy. Another group of people would try to look at that. They would feel anxious. They would feel anxiety. They don't like, certain types of things we do and say that makes them squeamish around how we do certain stuff. And then vice versa. The way they do certain stuff makes us squeamish. And then also, let's not forget the systemic, mind games being played with us. How they're manipulating our minds via, social media and the news and all that, warping and twisting and inserting certain messages to, as a form of psychological warfare against our people. So we're not all the same. So knock it off. So I'm just, making the differences aware and teaching my people to armor up in all the areas that we're being attacked. So the types of tips that I would give here on the health and wellness tips for, like, say a physical type. A physical type of attack, a physical area that you would want to get stronger in. So, like, usually talk about the health benefits of a plant, vegetable, herb, fruit, extract, elixir that you can ingest or apply topically to improve your overall health. Or then some type of physical exercise that you can do to improve your overall health. Then also on the mental side, exercises you can do to keep your mental well-being intact. Things you can do to improve your mental well-being, your mental health, such as like meditation, such as monitoring your emotions, such as, raising your frequency and vibration, such as decluttering, your environments, putting things in there that will elevate your mood in your environment, wherever you're at. Those are the types of tips to keep your, for your mental health tips. And then, of course, we're being attacked spiritually. So spiritual tips, like how to identify when you're being spiritually attacked, how to armor up, some things that you can do to protect yourself from a spiritual attack, things you can do to strengthen your spirits. Those are the types of tips I give in the health and wellness section of the Narrator podcast. And then for a curveball, every once in a blue moon, I'll talk about, quantum law, divine law, metaphysical type stuff, esoteric type stuff. So yeah, now that you know what the health and wellness section tip is about, I'm diving right on in with the health and wellness tip of the day here on the Narrator podcast. And I'm going to be discussing, today's health and wellness tip is on the physical side of it. And today I'll be talking about the health benefits of sunlight. So yeah, just like I said earlier on in the breakdown of the health and wellness section of the Narrator podcast, this section here, right here, this section, this topic you know, is directed directly at our people. And it's directed at our people directly because, you know, while the sun nourishes and strengthens us, it is dangerous to, you know, other people that don't have a large concentration of what we have. That carbon, that melanin. You know, other people that don't have large concentrations of it, they'll peel and they'll flake. They might even develop some type of cancer because of being exposed to the sunlight for too long. But with our people, it re-energizes us. You know, it renews us, it replenishes us. So today's health tip is the health benefits of sunlight. So sunlight for melanated people is beneficial mentally, physically, and spiritually. It supercharges all of our cells. It's good for, you know, helping you to grow hair, helping you to clear up skin problems. Going out in the sunlight, it helps enhance mood. So if you suffer from like anxiety, depression, go outside. And that's what like a lot of us suffer from in our community. A lot of crime that happens within our community is people that don't really, you know, in hip hop, we got the hip hop slang is I'm outside, I'm outside, I'm outside. Like the people that commit crimes, they really don't be outside. They really be like in the house all day, on their phone, playing games, whatever. They ain't no outsidey type people. They don't connect with nature. And so they just, you know, they have an unpleasant disposition, heavily, you know, have fight or flight really heavy. So, you know, for our people, you want to try to absorb like 2 to 4 hours worth of sunlight. At least 2 to 4 hours of sunlight every single day. And if you're not going to go outside to get the sunlight, at the very least, you know, pull back some drapes, you know, pull back the blinds, let some sunlight into your house. Go into the corner wherever the sunlight is, you know, shining the most heavily through. Wherever you see like sunlight getting through, like that's where you want to be at if you're not going to go outside. Like absorb as much sunlight as you possibly can. It'll improve your digestion. It will improve your skin. It'll improve your nails, your hair. It will reverse like physical signs of aging. You know, it'll help clear up blemishes and spots on your body. For melanated people, for my people, see, that's why I told you I'm not giving tips for everybody, because it ain't for everybody. You know, it'll help, you know, just, you know, open your pores up, get out all the impurities of your body. You will start sweating out impurities, start coming out of your epidermal layer, supercharge your cells, supercharge all the minerals and nutrients that you've eaten. Because out of all the people on the planet, our people's DNA is the only ones that mimic like plant life. Like that's how we grow. That's how our hair grows. Like, you know how plants, you know, they open up when they get in sunlight. The more sunlight a plant is exposed to, the stronger and more vibrant it gets. The petals is more, you know, pretty to look at. The, you know, on the stem, the green gets greener. You know, the grass is more lush with the sunlight, provided they get enough moisture with the sunlight. It can't just be sunlight all the time with no moisture, but you know, for the most part. But yeah, so get exposed to as much sunlight as you possibly can. And if you are an original person, and you will reap the benefits, you will feel better, you will look better, you will think better. And you will even, if you get exposed to enough of it, awaken some, you know, clairvoyant abilities. You'll be able to have a second sight. Your intuition will soar. You'll be able to see things that's coming before it actually comes. You will, you know, get a spiritual awakening. You will be able to connect with people that are no longer here. You can like read people's thoughts and all that if you absorb enough sunlight. Sunlight is our superpower. So get as much of it as you possibly can. All right. And that's the health and wellness tip of this today here on the Narrator Podcast. So now it is officially Sunday because, you know, I started late in the evening. Like I was chilling for most of the day, but it's not like I haven't done it before. But all intents and purpose, this is a Saturday edition of the Narrator Podcast. But yeah. So yeah, next section of the Narrative Podcast is the speaking section. And I think I already told you what the speaking section is. This is where I'm just basically, you know, talking about current events. And the purpose of me speaking on current events is this is me reclaiming the narrative. This is me controlling the narrative because the media will go out of its way to make us, you know, look and sound crazy. You know. So if history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this. If you don't tell your own story will be told for you. And so that's what I'm doing in the speaking section of the Narrative Podcast. I'm telling our own story of who we are, like whatever's going on in the world, unpacking it through our perspective, you know, framing it up. If it's something negative, you know, affecting us, you know, I already told you I'm focusing on the why. Why did this negative thing happen? And, you know, I unpack it from like this systemic perspective. Also, like I told you, I don't do gossip and messiness. If I bring up a famous person's name, I'm just like, you know, giving you the skinny of like why it's happening. I'm not trying to come off, you know, taking sides or nothing like that, or taking shots at the person that's involved with the news. It's just like I'm, you know, breaking it down from our perspective. So, having said that, speaking point of the day here on the Narrative Podcast. Yeah, it's ironic that I started trying to revamp. This is the very news of why I'm now, you know, trying to put out more weekday editions of the Narrative Podcast, because this particular topic has been dominating headlines within our community since the month of, I believe, like late February, March. And here we are in May, and it's just like it's not going nowhere. So unfortunately, I gotta address it. But yeah, so let's talk about it. So just recently, some video footage of Mr. Sean Puffy P. Diddy Love Daddy Diddy Combs has surfaced assaulting his former artist and girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura. Cassie Elizabeth Ventura, pardon me. Cassandra Elizabeth Ventura, aka Cassie. So the sister was dating Puffy, Diddy, Love, whatever he wants to call it. The brother wants to refer to himself as, and you know, I believe in the early 2000s they started dating, and then some forms of abuse during their consensual adult relations happened, and you know, she ended up suing him, and he settled. And one of the allegations that was in her lawsuit, you know, apparently was a part of the video footage that was surfacing. And so the perspective that I will be talking, uncovering this is just like, I'm going to be pointing out the hypocrisy in our community. I'm also going to be pointing out, you know, how thirsty these content creators are with their headlines. And basically, you know, also not to count nobody out. Now, before I dive into my assessment of what's going on, the first and foremost thing I want to say is that, you know, I'm not caping for Puffy. I don't know the guy. I don't know. I don't know him. I never met him. All I know of him is like, you know. So I'm going to be pointing out the hypocrisy of, you know, our community concerning this particular situation. And I also want to get people to, you know, get emotions out of the video and think critically as well. And like I said, I'm not caping for Puffy, but, you know, we shouldn't always be so quick to accept things that we see. We shouldn't be so quick to accept things that we hear. So let's dive in. So like, they dated for like close to a decade. The video was in 2016 at the time that they were dating. We seen the video. He was in his robe, ragdolled her, drug her, all that. So I'm wholeheartedly agree with anybody that saw the video. It was disturbing. I'm loving how, you know, we're all getting gallant now on the internet. You know what I mean? We're all standing up for manhood and what it means to be a man. Whereas before this incident happened, it seemed like not only was the mainstream audience, mainstream people outside of our culture threatened by our masculinity, they would go as far as to call it a toxic trait, toxic masculinity. Like, masculinity is toxic. And there's nothing toxic about being a man. There's a difference between being a man and being a male. A man means you're handling your responsibilities in life. You know, you're protecting, you're caring, you're doing what the Creator put you here to do, to, you know, provide and protect. You know, that's the nature of a man. Now, a male just has genetic traits of a man, like he just got the genitals. He doesn't have any of the defining characteristics that it takes to be a man. He doesn't have any fortitude. He doesn't navigate through life with a sense of urgency. A male just, he got the man part. He got the, he got the male genitalia. But there's nothing, he doesn't have a sense of pride. Doesn't protect nothing, doesn't provide for nothing, don't stand on nothing. You know, wimpy, always complaining. That's a male. A man, has, steadfastness, stand on his business, can be strong, can be provide, can protect, says what he means, mean what he says, has a good integrity, has good morals. That's a man. And so, like we're seeing online, people reacting and, sharing, saying their little piece about, that cowardly act that we saw. So first and foremost, any man that beats on a woman is a coward. That just beats her mercilessly like that is a coward. There's a lot of women now, it's a two-way street now, because women, they've been programmed and conditioned that they don't need men. Not only do they not need men, they can whip a man. And can't no woman whip no man. That's just period. A whole lot of women think they can whip men, and that's the problem. Because they've been, brainwashed and conditioned with this feminist movement, to get to the point where they almost hate men. But like, a man shouldn't put his hands on a woman for so many reasons. Like their bone structure is very delicate. They got all kinds of fluids, ambient fluids in their body. You can if you hurt a woman, you can cause some, if you hit a woman, if a man hits a woman, he can cause some severe, internal trauma. Like she can be messed up for a long time. If a man hits a woman, beats on a woman, grabs a woman up, if he grabs her too hard, he can really bruise her arm real bad. Women got delicate bone structure. You can mess around and snap her arm or dislocate her shoulder if you grab on her too rough. This is why law enforcement, male police officers are not to apprehend females. No matter how unruly they act, and they supposed to, that's supposed to be the law. They're supposed to call the female officer to subdue the female what do they call it, perpetrator. But so no man, we're all in agreement, men should not be hitting women. Cool. So the problem here is, one, living in the age we're in, was that actually him? And then was that actually her? And I'm proposing that question because it wasn't even a month ago that a situation happened in Boston at Pikesville, high school, and they said it was a digital hoax. They said a black guy, a brother, took his free time, downloaded some software to make the principal appear to be in a place that he wasn't actually at and say things that he actually didn't say. And why is that relevant to this situation with Puffy? Not because he's a brother, because he's a brother. And again, I'm not caping for him, but we're living in the AI age. You can do a whole lot of trickery with AI. We don't know if it was AI or not. Now, the sources are being released. You got to see the source of it that it's coming from. Now, how credible a source is TMZ? Because TMZ, the footage got leaked to TMZ. That's why it's going viral right now. So how credible is TMZ, especially in concern to our people? Does TMZ try to, save our people and make our people look good in a positive light? Or do they have stories where they're always catching us in ultra rare form? Think critically on that. Don't be so, emotionally attached by this video footage that we don't know. It's not confirmed nor denied that actually is Sean, whatever his real name is, Combs. We don't know. I don't know him. Some people are attesting to his character, saying that's not out of the realm of possibility that he would do, stoop to such a level to do that to a woman. A whole lot of people saying they've witnessed it. Him do that to other women. So I don't know. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that he did do it. So I just want people to think critically on that and not be so emotionally tied to that, letting their emotions get the best of them in this situation, and just look at facts and facts. Look at the black and white facts of it. So let's go with the narrative that it was him. This footage happened in 2016. Cassie has already taken it to trial and has agreed to settle out with it. So it's over and done with. It happened in 2016. It's now 2024. So let's go with the narrative that, that was him. It's 24. That happened in 2016. She got her money. So why now is people acting cringy? It's making you look fake. It's making you look disingenuous, because a lot of the people that are reacting are entertainers that have been around him, know him, have seen it. They're even telling on themselves online. They've seen him engaging in activity, but yet they ain't never pressed him. And, bro, you need to chill out. Ain't nobody, all these celebrities ain't never man, you need to chill out with that. That's corny, bro. Don't be putting your hands on a woman like that. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody never checked them. But now all of a sudden everybody wants to check them. And it happened in 2016. That's what I mean when I said I was going to point out the hypocrisy of, this situation with everybody online acting so gallant and masculine and, The reality the reality is this: like, no full-grown adults needs to be putting their hands on another full-grown adult. And I'll say it again: no full-grown adults needs to be putting their hand on another full-grown adult. No full-grown adults needs to be putting their hands on another full-grown adult. That's period, point blank. And for the record, women, there's some she-devils out there. Women be putting their hands on men too. There are women that sit up there and will stab a guy, shoot a guy, really think they can whip a dude. Be getting all up in his face, spit on him and everything. And then when he grab her up, is he abusive then? After he done try to walk away from her and try to walk her away from her, she's beating him upside the head with skillets and brooms and spitting all in his face, and he ain't did nothing to her. There's women out there like that. They really think they can whip a man. And this definitely didn't happen in the case of what we seen presented to us. Keyword, what we saw presented to us. Because this footage was presented to us. Now, the story behind that is why did it take all this time for it to surface is because he paid it off, which is highly plausible. He's very wealthy and has a lot of influence, so that's highly plausible. That's not outside the realm of possibility. Somebody powerful and that has influence, they would go through extreme lengths to keep something incriminating like that safe. So, that's not outside the realm of possibility that could happen. But something else ain't nobody really saying is that he was in a full-on relationship with Cassie, and, regardless of, her, allegations, her testimony, in a relationship, even in an abusive relationship, it takes two people in a relationship. She don't deserve to be victimized. She don't deserve for a man to put his hands on her. But you don't know the confines surrounding their relationship. You don't know if she did something to him, if she said something to him. We don't know that. We're just on the outside looking in, looking how that looks to us. And it looks bad. It looks very bad. Like I said, no man should be hitting a woman, but no woman should be hitting a man either. So we don't know really what she might have did to him in the relationship. We don't know. It might have just been he finally just snapped one day. We don't know. Because I got a rhetorical question for everybody saying he's the devil. Saying, he always been with the funny business. It's just something didn't set right in my spirit. It's just, I always knew I didn't like him for some reason, and now I got my reason. I got a little question for all y'all people like that. Now, knowing celebrity, knowing Hollywood, knowing the entertainment industry, it's like one day they love you and then one day they hate you. What if, when all this finally dies down, when it finally all dies down, she finally gets the money she feels she should have, some new, she gets comfortable with herself, you know what I'm saying? Just what if, a couple things happen. What if she just comes out the blue and says she was lying about all of this? What if her and Puffy get back together? and he marries Cassie, then what? What then what? All these negative comments, then what? Egg on your face, right? And like I said, I was going to point out the hypocrisy of this, because everybody subscribes to the notion men shouldn't be hitting women, but yet all us males, men and males, got like people, beings with genitals, seed genitals, seed spreader genitals. If we have a female sibling, 9 out of 10, especially within our community, we grew up fighting our female sibling. And we probably didn't stop fighting them until we became young adults, probably like 14, 15, 16. Sometimes even in your 20s, by the time y'all physically stop fighting each other. But we ain't supposed to put our hands on women, right? We know we don't fought our female sibling. We done fought our female cousins before. We either, have put our hands on a female before or threatened to put our hands on a female before. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many years you've been going to church, how many years you've been going to the mosque. At some point, it crossed your mind to do it, or you've done it. If you're completely honest, if you're not a liar, you done at the very least had to restrain a female, or push a female to get a female up off you, because she done ran up on you and you had to push her down. She done ran up on you with a knife or a gun trying to do something to you, and you had to just in that moment, restrain her to get her up off of you. So that's just the hypocrisy I want to point out, that all men, even your daddy, your uncle, at some point in time, he done put his hand on a woman. All fathers done spanked their female child. That's putting your hands on a woman. Now the dude, I'm not, like I said, I'm not caping for Diddy. Because to be quite honest, I always thought he was overhyped as a producer. I didn't get, how he got all them awards and all the acclaim. If we're being quite honest, I was never impressed with his career as a producer. I didn't never think, all the beats that he produced at Bad Boy was really all that hot. The artist was that hot. They made it that hot because of their, artisanship and their creative flair they had. But he ain't, in my opinion, he ain't never really had his beats wasn't never really all that hot. So I'm not even a fan of Puffy at all, career wise. But far as entertainer wise, he ain't never been a favorite of mine as an entertainer either. I ain't nothing in this catalog. I love making the band show. I like that. I like that season, them 3 seasons of making the band. When he did, so I was trying to do the hip hop band, So I said all that to say I don't got no reason to try to make excuses for somebody. I don't really mess with all that. I'm bringing factual, unbiased, an unbiased opposing view, because everybody's dialed into he's the devil and we got to get him out of here. We got to destroy him and take him down 90 pegs and all that. Just what if everybody's wrong? That's all I'm saying. That's the perspective that I'm bringing to the table is like, what if everybody's wrong? What if Cassie been lying all this time? You know, because all we can do in this situation is pontificate. Because as we know, when it comes to our people, when you get to a certain status, people come out of the woodwork to take you down, and he's an easy target because he has so many skeletons in his closet. He's hiding so many things, lying about so many things. But on the different perspective, if he was Caucasian, you know, they would just say he's a recluse. They wouldn't call him crazy. They would just say he's eccentric. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I unpack the why, because that's not in the original man's nature. Where do we get behavior like that from? His mentor was a guy named Clyde Davis. So ask yourself, if you know Puffy, if you was affiliated, if you a New York native, if you've been around him since like the early 90s, was he acting like that before he got around Clyde Davis? Was he like talking weird, dressing weird, doing sus-like stuff before he got around Clyde Davis? So anything that he's doing, he done picked up from the master, the elite society. And then like the final bone that I want to address about this, and I'm going to leave it alone, is like all the content creators. I try not to curse on my platform because I think it devalues my content. But I do keep it real on here, and a whole lot of y'all need to just shut the fuck up. A whole lot of content creators, y'all need to shut the fuck up and just shut the fuck up. Like for real. Because y'all sitting up there making your articles and headlines, all YouTube, it's over, it's over. Like that's in the title, in the title, it's over. They got him. He's finally over. He's done. He's a wrap. Puffy's over. Puffy's done. Puffy's done. Puffy's over. Puffy's done. That's just all this bombarding you with you. Puffy's over. Puffy's done. Like I swear on everything. Go to YouTube right now. Go down YouTube feed. Go down the Instagram feed, and you will see in the bylines. I ain't crazy. Puffy's done. Puffy's done. Puffy's done. Matter of fact, Brother Stephen A. Smith, that was his whole rant. Puffy is officially done. He's, yo. And the reason why I'm saying y'all need to shut the fuck up saying that is because you sound stupid. You sound unintelligent saying it. Do you know the level of money this guy has? Do you know the connection this guy has? It's not over for him. It's not going to be over for him. The only one that can deal with him right now is the creator, the one that put him here. As far as us on this physical plane, we can't do nothing. Like if you ain't got 6 figures or more, you're not going to stop him. All you're on social media complaining about him and talking about him and dragging him. Yo, I'm gonna bust your bubble right now. All you're doing is making him more powerful. Because everybody that's complaining about him on social media, guess where they're complaining about him on? They're complaining on making negative comments on his modernized social media platform, on his modernized Twitter page, or X as it's called now, on his YouTube channel, modernized, on his Instagram channel, modernized. And if you know anything about entertainers, the actual entertainer that has the page that they pay other people to run it, and then they have ads on it, and then it gets CPMs and clicks, and so that's a form of revenue for them. So like, you want to destroy him so badly, but all you're doing is making him more powerful because you're letting them live rent free in your head. everything that's going on around in his world, you're letting them live rent-free in your head. And you're not going to stop them like that. You're not going to stop them with all this negative press. You're not going to stop them with calling them the devil. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't he famous for saying, take that. I thought I told you that I won't stop. I thought I told you that I won't stop. So if you thought he was bad now, you don't even seen nothing yet after all this dies down. Everybody talking about he's nervous, he's boo-booing on himself. Man, please. That dude is somewhere, wherever he's at, he listened to his lawyer. His lawyer probably just told him to shut up. His lawyer probably just told him to shut the fuck up and just ride it out. He got more than enough resources to ride this out. If anybody on the planet got ride out money, Puffy, Sean Diddy Combs, whatever you want to call him, he got enough money to ride this thing out. He ain't losing no sleep. He ain't worried. He ain't nervous. He's laughing. He's laughing and he's taking notes about all the people that's turning his back on him, that said they was his brothers at one point in time, you know, and now saying stuff about him. You know, every other interview, they got his name in their mouth, and you know, at one point in time, he was taking care of him. Now, you know, another argument is they didn't say nothing back then because he was scared. They were scared of him because he was using all his connections to, you know, intimidate them or whatever. And I think that's highly plausible. But the scale was kind of like evenly balanced. For every one person coming out the woodwork to say something negative about him, there's like about 4 or 5 occasions where somebody's saying something positive about him. So, you know, it's equal. The scales is equal in that regard. So, like, to summarize my point is this is not the end of his career. He is not ended. He ain't going nowhere. Like, he ain't going nowhere no time soon. If anything, what y'all doing on social media, y'all making him more powerful. You're making him more financially wealthy. Do you know, say if all these allegations are true, do you know who he's connected to? He's connected to judges, lawyers, doctors, politicians, congressmen, senators, aldermen. Everybody who has, is connected or tied to the affairs of state in like the United States of America and abroad. Like, you know, sheiks and sultans. Those are all the like people he holds court with. These are all the people like high level elite society who he consorts with. If all these allegations are true, do you think they're going to let him go down on that one? I'm going to tell you what's really all going on. They got an N-word. He got his nigga wake-up call. He done got cocky. He done made so much money. He done got caught and cocky with it. And his handlers, you know, all this negative press coming his way, that's their way of smacking him up. Like, you getting beside yourself, boy. So that's what that is. Because if they had what they needed to have, he would have been gone a long time ago. So they actually ain't got anything, because if you know anything about the law, you got to have the burden of proof before you bring anything to trial. And nobody has a burden of proof because he done got rid of all the proof. He been having lawyers and judges in his pocket since the early 90s. Now we got billions of dollars. He had lawyers and judges in his pocket when he only had when he wasn't even a millionaire yet. He was in 100,000 when he had lawyers and judges in his pocket, when allegedly he was sex trafficking and running drugs and gang and having mob ties when he was running back and forth in his early career from New York to California. He was beating cases since the early 90s. with just 100,000. So now they got 1 billion. You think he's really, you think he's really at game over status? It ain't game over status. It is not game over status. The only way they can get him is to unalive him. That's the only way they can get him. They can't arrest him, bro. They can't arrest him. He's not going to get arrested. He's not going to go broke. He got too much money. Get it through your heads. Stop writing them ridiculous headlines. You're making yourself look stupid, bro. And a lot of y'all content creators, y'all had so much credibility before this happened. Like, y'all was the #1 source that people was tapping into to, like get some non-biased, informative information about whatever's happening in Hollywood, in the world, for our people. People was giving you so much credit, but now you done compromise your journalistic integrity with frivolous gossip, because that's what basically, was going on with Mr. Combs. All of this is frivolous gossip. None of it can be confirmed nor denied. Like, a lot of people is saying stuff, but how much is the stuff that people are saying actually true? I don't know. I don't take the gospel from nobody but the Creator. Like, anybody, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't just believe anything anybody tells me. I'm not that type of individual. But if you're that type of individual, you'll believe anything anybody tells you without, investigating and trying to find out if it's true for yourself or not before making a decision, an informed decision. That's, be well with that. But that's not my mentality. But what I do know, I don't know too much about, Mr. Combs, whatever the brother likes to be called. What I do know is about our U.S. government. I do know that AI has been around longer than we know about, than we were privy to. They've been using AI since the mid-60s, like in the COINTELPRO era, to dismantle various organizations, making the leaders of said organizations look like they did something that they didn't do and said something that they didn't say, to cause dissension amongst the ranks and cause, internal conflicts in organizations that was helping our community. So why wouldn't they do it? Use that same technology to take down somebody within our community that can actually, got the sustainable income to solve problems within our community. You don't think they're, above that reproach to do that to him? That's all I'm saying. And like I said, I want to follow up. I am not caping with him. I'm with everybody. If you're in the crowd, you say any man that puts his hand on a female is a coward. I'm 100 grand with you on that one. I'm 100 grand with you on that one. Any man that put his hands on a woman, he is a coward. Beats a woman sensitively like that, but yet and still, many people have. I've had male relatives in my family that I have had to intervene and pull them up off a female because they let their emotions get the best of them. I had to pull them off to the side, and handle them. Not because, because I love them and I don't want to see them go to jail, and because I don't want to see them disgrace, the family name, not acting like a man acting like the man that they was raised to be. I done had to, help like males in my family with anger issues. Had to pull them off to the side when I caught them. You know what I mean? I've had to do that to friends of mine. I didn't stop being, they didn't stop being my family members because they done, had that problem. If you really love somebody and care about them and want to see them get better, you don't just throw them away because they got a problem. So a man that beats a woman, he got anger issues. Is he not redeemable? Can you not get help for that? Is he beyond being saved if you beat on a woman? Like, yeah, you can change your whole life around. There's women that then went to jail for beating on men. Yeah, women abuse men in relationships too, if you didn't know. So that's all I'm saying. We don't know what the inside track really is with, the depth of, Diddy and Cassie's relationship. We don't know. She could be the mastermind. She could be the villain in this story. Well, all we know is what the media is showing us. We don't know. Because when you look at it on the surface, Puffy is the producer. Cassie was a woman trying to get on, trying to be a singer. And a woman that wasn't, if we're being honest, she ain't talented. Name one song in Cassie's catalog that you like. Name one song in Cassie's catalog that you can even remember. Can you even remember something in her catalog, let alone one song you liked? They had an agreement. He said, at some point, reading in between the lines, I like you, I want to get with you. I'll take care of you. You know what I'm saying? I got money, I'll take care of you. What you want to do with yourself? I want to be a singer. Shoot, I can make that happen for you, baby. I'll do it. You made her a singer. But the deal came with, she didn't read the fine print. And he put all that in the fine print. The FO parties, the drugs. He put all that in the fine print. But she wasn't she wasn't the victim when she was going to them 5-star restaurants. She wasn't the victim when she was on them private jets. She wasn't the victim when her project was doing its numbers and she was going to the radio shows and the talk shows and she was getting all the accolades. She wasn't the victim then. And then she didn't even deserve to be a star because she's not talented. She can't sing. But now she's the victim. You see? And once again, I'm not caping for Puffy. I'm just bringing an opposing view that nobody seems to be talking about or seems to want to see. Because, just like the powers that be ain't never tried to trick us. They ain't never tried to use the media to warp our perception. People ain't thinking like that. But that's really all I want to touch on with this subject. I mean, at this point, you think what you think. Your team, he did it, or your team, he didn't do it. Or you're in the middle and indifferent, don't care at all. And I'm team indifferent, really don't care at all, because I feel as a people, we got bigger fish to fry, especially here in America, because it's almost election time. And yet again, we got two candidates that don't have any tangible policies in place for our people. We don't have nothing in it for our people. Again, we're not going to get nothing. Whoever wins the election, we're not going to get nothing. And the few things that was helping us is going to get cut off. The few programs that was helping us is going to get cut off. Whoever wins the upcoming election. So, but we sitting up here worried about a guy that got $1 billion. We've been talking about that for the last, since February, bro. We've been talking about this. And his empire is not going to topple over this. But yet we still got disenfranchised in our community. We still got dysfunction in our community. The police is still unaliving us in our community. We still got people that don't got jobs and stuff in our community. Our children are still like suffering academically in our community. But we got all this time, all these resources devoted to, putting our 2 cents in and pontificating on something we can't 110% confirm or deny. I'm too done with this subject. I'm through with this. Y'all need to be through with this. Quit letting this situation play out and walk around rent-free in your head, and let's focus and get back in the game. And that's all I want to say about this subject. So that's it, and that's all. This has been my weekend edition of the Narrative Podcast. Join me next weekend for another full edition of the Narrative Podcast. Wherever you get your podcast information from, make sure you download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast. What else I want to say? The best way to catch the most recent episode of the Narrative Podcast is to follow me on X, formerly Twitter, and YouTube. And the reason why you want to do that is because the platform that I broadcast on uploads directly to YouTube and X. Like right after I'm done broadcasting, it uploads automatically to those 2 mediums. So your best bet is to follow me on those 2 mediums, X, YouTube and X. And I'm Halsey Allen on both of them. I'm Halsey Allen on YouTube. I'm Halsey Allen on X. I stay good at Halsey Allen. Excuse me. Pardon me. Got something like, don't have my water on me. Got a little scratchy. But anyway, that's why I'm trying to hurry up and end this segment so I can get me some hydration going on. So follow me on any of those 2 mediums, YouTube or X. YouTube is my viewer channel, Halsey Allen. I don't got a specific channel designated exclusively to the Narrative Podcast, but my viewer channel, if you go inside, if you know YouTube, just go on and click my videos and you'll see every single last episode of the Narrative Podcast uploaded on there. But your best bet to help me with my numbers is to download episodes, and you would want to click on the link on my X X account to download episodes of the Narrative Podcast. Click the download button, click the little heart-shaped like button. There's a little box. Write me a little comment. You know about the algorithms and the clicks and all that. So download, like, share, all that. Narrative Podcast episodes. And follow me on YouTube and X. Also, I've written a book of poetry titled The Black Card. The Black Card is available on poetizer.com. Poetizer.com is a writing community. Specifically, it's mainly for poets and people to write poetry. But it's also, extended to like people that like to write short stories and novels, compositions and essays. Any form of writing is encouraged in that community. But they also have a feature where you can turn your work into a book, and they got all kinds of stuff to help you market the book, create the book, sell it. And that's precisely what I did on that platform. And the book I created is titled The Black Card. And the books for the books created by the content creators on that platform, they have a virtual online bookstore. That's where you can go to purchase the books. And so go to poetizer.com's virtual online bookstore and purchase my book, The Black Card. The Black Card, what that is a collection of my poetry It's poems that basically encompass us as a people. It's 30 creative poems that really just capture the essence of who we are as a people. It captures all the, positive and negative things we experience as a people. It's unique, it's creative. You will love it. It'll make a great coffee table read, travel book gift. So do yourself a huge favor. Go to the virtual online bookstore on poetizer.com and purchase your copy of my book, The Black Card, today, or get your black card revoked. And then also, I have a poetry blog on blogger.com called Halsey's Poetry Corner. And the tagline for that is Halsey's Poetry Corner, poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. When you read one of my poems on blogger.com, Halsey's Poetry Corner, you will know just why I decided to use that tagline, because my poems are really just that versatile. I really got one for every single occasion in life that you can think of. The unique thing about my poems on that page is they're so intricate and detailed. You would think that I drafted them before I posted them, but that's the complete opposite of what I did. All my poems on Halsey's Poetry Corner blog is completely, it's just completely random. I did that on a whim, in the spur of the moment. I did not contemplate on any subject that I wrote about. I didn't contemplate on the title that I named each piece. It's just really just all just spontaneous. I spontaneously wrote all the poems featured on that blog. So yeah, go check it out today at www.mrhalziesblogs.com. And the way you can support my poems featured on Halsey's Poetry Corner is to share either a poem featured on Halsey's Poetry Corner, the link to Halsey's Poetry Corner, or a poem featured on Halsey's Poetry Corner across all platforms, whatever platform you're most affluent on, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, whatever you like to post on. Make sure you share the link to Halsey's Poetry Corner on any platform, across all mediums, you know what I mean? So that's how you can help me with my, algorithm on all that. You can click the little heart-shaped like button and comment on them in the comment box, and then click the share button and share it to whatever your favorite platform is, either the link to Halsey's Poetry Corner or a poem featured on Halsey's Poetry Corner. And the link to it once again is www.mrhalziesblogs.com, and the tagline for it is poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. Yeah, that's it and that's all. Thank you all for listening and keeping an open mind. Thank you for supporting your brother all this time and giving me, enough resources to where I can keep on doing uploads of the Narrative Podcast. I ain't making buku of money, but I'm keep making enough to keep this, podcast rolling, and definitely every episode gets a little bit better. So thank you all for supporting me. Join me this weekend for another full episode of the Narrative Podcast, and also tune into me, on weekdays to get the, latest weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. I'm increasing my, trying to increase the piece on the weekday, giving you positive frames of reference during the week, because that's when we need it the most. So I'm on a mission to try to, promote positivity. So I'm trying to do more uploads during the week. So tap in with me to listen to the weekday episodes of the Narrative Podcast. That's it and that's all. Thank you all for listening. I'm Halsey Allen. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time. I'm asking you to help me in my quest to change the narrative by becoming a narrator. And while I'm changing the narrative on my end, one episode at a time, as a narrator, you can help me change the narrative on your end, one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halsey Allen, the Narrator Podcast, signing off, and it's like that.
Listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.